morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Wave Network and Conn with the Conn Man. I am your host, the Conn Man. And with me this evening, I have the one, the only, my man, Anthony A. Cobbs in the building from Cali. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm lovely, man. How you guys doing out there on the East Coast?
We're doing all right, man. We have some shaky weather out here, but we hanging on up on in there. Now, folks, let me tell you something about my man, AC. Uh, he's the owner of his own media production company, and he also has one of the outstanding sports podcasts in the country. And as I, went around looking, through Facebook and things of that nature, I came upon his show, and I was so damn impressed. And I hit him up a couple of times. He probably thought I was nuts, but you know, uh, he's very knowledgeable, and I can't wait for you guys to get a chance to meet my man, AC Cobbs. Cobbs, let the viewers know a little bit about your background and your history, your grind, and your journey.
Man, I'm just a dad that's trying to do his best by his kids, a husband that's trying to love my wife till it's all said and done. And I'm a associate pastor at the church. I'm a teacher by day. I used to be a football coach, track coach. I had a cup of coffee in the NFL. I played college ball at UCLA, played my high school ball at Long Beach Poly. Pretty much an open book, man. And learned some valuable things from my dad, who was a Philadelphia playground legend, Philly T, in North Philly, where I spent my summertime learning how to hoop and hit my patented bank shot off the corner. And it's just been a whirlwind journey. Played overseas a few times in NFL Europe. I met everybody, 3 times, saw everybody twice, and it just had a blessed life, man. Tough times growing up on the west side of Long Beach, California, but no complaints, man. Never had an idea that we were poor. Didn't know what that was. We were just living, and it made me appreciate life. And I'm just happy to be able to spread a good word, have a positive sports podcast that can, be a platform for guys to be able to conversate about topics that we might have a word about. So I'm just happy, man. Grinding every day. I'm part owner of a trucking school out here, all in CDO training, and we're trying to get men who and women and young adults their Class A license so they can become drivers and have a career and not just be stagnant, not have anything that they can do as far as a career is concerned. And we've been working with a lot of recently released from prison men and women, and they have programs for that. So it's just good to be able to give back. It's good to be able to be a soundboard and just to be a friend to all those who check into my show, AC Sports Live, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the little platforms, and just being able to connect with people, man. So it's been a great time. I can't complain about life at all.
AC, man, that is tremendous. That's outstanding, my man. Outstanding. You got me at a loss for words. Let the viewers know about how you came about doing your fantastic sports podcast.
Oh man, it goes back to, I think we were freshmen in college back in 92, and we were trying to do radio, and we had some locker room, jaw jacking. You're around the fellas, man. You start talking about some ideas, and our locker room had music, and we would always pretend we were DJs, and we would always kind of throw around some sound bites and some cool, clever phrases here and there, and we just got used to doing that. Me and my buddy Jimmy Mack was like, man, we should do a show. And then my other buddy was like, man, we should do a show. I hope there's 80s and 90s hip hop. We would be a cool, morning drive or whatever it would be. And then life started lifing. And we don't ever get around to get down to the station and doing it. I started doing TV. I was doing sideline reporting. And then I was working at Fox Sports 1 doing sports highlights. And then fast forward again, life started lifing some more. I started coaching, started teaching. I'm teaching video production and television, so I'm still around the industry, so to speak. And then pandemic hit. When COVID hit and we couldn't go outside, you had to make the best of your time. And I'm just kind of like, well, let me get back into what I do. I edit. I try to do animation. I'm trying to do some more, gaming type stuff. But I was kind of like, well, what about broadcasting? Like I've always loved broadcasting, and if we couldn't leave the house, I'd hit up my boy Jim. I said, man, remember that idea we had in college that we would do a radio show? I said, let's do a podcast. Let's just do one where we just talk about social topics and sports and being a father and being a husband. So we started doing the 1585 show, and we were doing that every week, and all of our classmates started jumping on. I had production background, so I know how to put together a show. And I was just kind of like, let me do the engineering. I'll put together our graphics. I'll put together our, our situation, and invite them to the stream. And we're doing what we're doing like right now with you and I. And you have good topics, and you have two knowledgeable guys talking about sports that we know about, not talking about things we have no clue about. But then I started doing my own show, which was a lot more uh, convenient because it's kind of hard to produce when you have to worry about everyone's schedules. Because Jimmy and I are both teachers, and he was a football coach at the time too, CIF champion football coach. I was an assistant coach, so I still had a little bit more time. He was a head coach, so he didn't have as much time. So I was able to do my show, and doing your own show, you don't have to really worry about anybody hopping on. And I didn't have to worry about an engineer cutting my show. So I was able to do it on my own. So I've been doing it like almost 5 years strong now. So I enjoy it. It's therapeutic for me. And I talk football, basketball, baseball, track. I just talk about the things that I know. I try to stay away from hockey. I don't know a whole lot about hockey. But, I know, I talk about soccer more than I talk about hockey. But, I just have a good time and poke fun at certain things. And I talk my truth to whatever I know. And like right now, the topic is the transfer portal. And that's something that's near and dear to me because my own son is in there. So I know that there are people who are in the same boat as I'm in. And I think that's when a sports talk show can be helpful, when you have information that can help somebody and educate them.
Now, AC, now you've been kind of quiet, but I want you to bring out your experiences playing big time football at UCLA and your rivalry with USC. I want you to let the viewers know what it's really like.
Times have changed, man. Conn Man, I ain't never lost to SC. We won every year we played against SC. I don't know what was different. We had dudes from New York, we had dudes from Texas, we had dudes from all over, and we had a good mix of guys. We actually developed talent, and that one game we might have had a 6-5 season, but we come in that game right there, we 10-0. Like we come in that game with so much confidence. We just had a good nucleus of guys. I think we won 8 in a row, so 3 more after I was gone, and it was just a different day. Now they like back and forth, and I think it should be that way, back and forth. One year it's them, one year it's us. It's still to me one of the best rivalries in football. I don't think the rivalry in basketball between the two teams is that, highly regarded because the years UCLA just dominated the entire NCAA in basketball. But football, for those years, we had a good time and we look forward to that game. My claim to fame was my 2 interceptions versus SC in overtime. I mean, that was my height of my career, just being able to be in that game in front of 100,000 people and to make a couple of plays. I was just, in the right place at the right time, and I just make sure I didn't drop the ball. Just make sure you make those plays. Lifelong memories, man. I can share with my kids and grandkids.
Let the viewers know, who are some of the players that played in your era?
We played, guys like Jonathan Ogden, Hall of Famer, was on my team. Kay McNown, Skip Hicks, Sean Williams, Phillip Ward, guys that went on to play in the NFL. Travis Kersey was on my team, and I was right before Deshaun Foster and them guys. And SC had guys like Keyshawn Johnson. I had to guard him. Sammy Knight, a lot of guys, man. Rob Johnson, all these guys. Willie McGinnis. Who else played in that game? Tony Baselli. All those guys we played against went on to the NFL and had great careers. So, I've had a blessed career. I've been able to, rub elbows with Randy Moss when I was in my little cup of coffee with the New Orleans Saints. I played, against Deion Sanders and Andre Rison, just and sitting down having lunch with these guys, man. So I lived a cool little life, not even having any regular season playing time in the NFL. I was still able to experience a lot of the good parts without becoming jaded or tainted, so to speak. Like a lot of guys get Hollywood and they get a lot of money in their pocket and they start changing of who they are. I had just enough experience to kind of have some stories to tell some youngsters and help them out in this whole process. So playing big time football in front of 100,000 people is a great feeling. It's a lot of responsibility, but if you are humble and you praise God every day for the opportunity and the chance and the door being open, good things that happen to you. It may not happen as storybook as you would like all the time, because it wasn't always gravy, man. I had some tough times in there where I wasn't getting no playing time. I wasn't, I wasn't traveling. The coach pulled my bag and I was on the bench and you feeling like I should transfer, but we didn't have no transfer portal. And you know how that is, Conn. You can't just say you're gonna leave. If you even mention it back in the days, you gone. You gonna be on the bench the rest of your career if you mention the word transfer. So it was a different time, man. But I appreciate it. I dated my wife that I've been with for 26 years in college. We met in high school. We went to UCLA together, and I wouldn't have it any other way, man. Because if anything was different, I probably wouldn't have these two beautiful kids I have now. So I'm good.
Now, AC, do you recall a player who played for the Chargers? He goes by the name of Stephen Cooper.
Stephen Cooper sounds really familiar. What year did he play?
He wore number 54. Mm-hmm. He was linebacker. Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm bringing him up is because he's from our neighborhood. He's from the hood, right with us. You know what I mean? He went to Maine, and then I think he played 9 years with the Chargers, and he's a role model for the community and stuff. I just want to know if you.
I have his playing card. I want to say I have his playing card. I used to collect football cards when I was a young kid, so I think I might have his card. You'll make me look through my stats.
Wow, that would be unbelievable. But now that I got you here, right, I want to get your feedback on a couple of topics, if you don't mind. Number one, I got to bring it up because it's probably the biggest topic today. That's Mr. Bill Belichick going to the University of North Carolina. What is your take, and how do you think that's going to work out, for real?
You figure, man, Bill Belichick is about business, all about business. He ain't about no fun and games. He's not about, you think the most college mentality guy in the NFL was Rob Gronkowski, who was a party boy, drinking and partying and women and all that stuff. And he was still able to turn it on when it was time to turn it on. But the Patriots, when Bill Belichick was at his height, had some leaders on that team, and Tom Brady and Willie McGinnis. Tom ran the offense, Willie ran the defense, and them dudes were leaders, and they echoed the things that Coach Belichick was preaching. Do your job. College, I think that can work better than it worked in the NFL when he did not have Tom Brady. All that military, yes sir, no sir, don't work with millionaires who haven't been molded that way. But now when you go to the college ranks, you can almost do that because you see a lot of that with Deion Sanders. Coach Prime is trying to raise these kids into men, so he holds them at a high level of standard. I think Coach Belichick will have some effectiveness because you figure North Carolina, the expectation is not national championship next year. The expectation is to be competitive in the ACC. And I think he can do that by just having a solid run game and then finding a passer in year 2 or 3 that can complete some passes when needed. And that's his formula, ball control football. It wins every year. It's just now people want to score all these points and you end up scoring 40 points, but you lose half the games because you're not controlling the football. Coach Belichick being a defensive guru who wants to control the ball because you can't play defense if your defense is on the field all the time. So having an offense that scores a ton of points is not conducive of a good defense. So you want to have that balance. I think it will work just fine at North Carolina because you can recruit them big corn-fed kids who just big for nothing. They just move the line. 3rd and 3, they can get that first down. I think his style and you find a couple of versatile backs who can get the ball out the backfield. His style when he had what's the kid Falk, Marshall Falk's cousin. He had that kid Falk for all those years, and he was so effective because he's basically a third tight end. You got two tight ends and a fullback or a tailback that can come out the backfield. You got two tight ends destroying backers and safeties, and his running back is just running free. That's easy money in football if you don't have the ego that you need to throw the ball down the field all the time. So I think he's going to do just fine. And I think in college, he'll have more power to do what he likes to do. Whereas in the NFL, these owners are not going to let him do what he used to do, like being over personnel and then having a regiment that pros don't like. Like everybody that goes to the Patriots was like, this is so strict. It's so restrictive. I can't even be myself. Some guys thrive in that structure. Some guys ain't with that. They've been free for so long and not told no. And then you get to a coach who's headstrong and they can't do it. Well, you figure he can now recruit kids that he know will respond to his style. So I think he'll be successful if given enough leash, given enough time to build his team, which is in essence 3 to 5 years. These first 2 years, he's going to be terrible because he's going to have to get the kids that he wants in a transfer portal generation where kids can just jump ship if they're not happy. How do you change that culture? And it takes about 3 to 5 years.
And that's why I wanted to bring up. How do you, I guess, deal with the fact that you got the NIL, which is like the salary cap, and then you got the transfer portal, which is like free agency. As a coach, how do you, I guess, manipulate or develop talent when you're being faced with such issues? Like, I'll give you an example. We're going to get into basketball, which is my area, by the way. We're going to get
yes, sir.
But you already know that. But I mean, what I'm talking about as far as like the number one recruit basketball-wise out of high school, he going to, if I'm correct, Brigham Young, and he's going to get between $5 and $7 million a year. And he came on Stephen A. show and said, "I'm really done. I'm out." So as a coach, I know I'm sure you have coaching experience. As a coach, how do you delve into those issues to try to build a program? Now, I know Belichick wants to build a pro-type program so players can play in a pro-type system. How do you navigate all that to come up with a good result?
You got to recruit a certain type of kid. You got to be honest with the family and forthright. Remember when Duke basketball didn't recruit one-and-done kids? Calipari was selling one-and-done where Mike Krzyzewski was not trying to even touch one. At some point, Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K, had to change with the times and started bringing in those kids he knew were going to be one and done. Because if you don't play chess, you are not going to be competitive. So how does a coach do it? Some of your roster you have to know are going to be portal kids, that they're going to leave because they're going to outplay this program. Then you have to know there are some kids that you recruit to develop them. That's their reason for being there. They have so much potential, but they're 3 years away. These kids who are ready to play now, you got to be willing to lose those kids because those kids are gonna get a phone call from an uncle who got a phone call from a booster, and there's $500,000 waiting for you if you jump in the portal. And you don't need coach's permission to jump in the portal. You can file your own paperwork. Right. You'll get an email saying you're gone, and that's all. You ain't even got to talk to him. I mean, of course, you want to be a gentleman and say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." But now, if you don't get what you are asking for as far as playing time or just being comfortable, you could just go and leave. If I'm Bill Belichick trying to build a program, or anybody in basketball or any sport, I'll be forthright up front. I will go to the next team that's best for me and my family. As I recruit you, I can't promise you I'm going to be here next year. But I know I'm going to be here this year, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z this year. I want you to get what you need this year. And it's going to have to be a mentality of belief that this is what it is today. This is what it is. This is what we come to. They're not going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle. Is money out there to be had? Most athletes don't have money, don't come from money. The hungry ones aren't. I heard Penny Hardaway talking about it the other day. The hunger is gone. So we're going to have to really start recruiting kids who are hungry regardless of money. Kids who, like, you look at the kid from Philadelphia, from California, Jared McCain. He's not hard up for money. He just wants to be the best. So regardless of the NIL money, he worked and he was doing what he do versus kids from across the country. He ran into some tough kids and had some tough nights, but you don't think he learned from it and stayed in the gym and got better? Like, he wants to be the best. He wants to be the rookie of the year. He wants to be an NBA all-star. A lot of these kids get $2 million and they say, forget putting in that work. Forget ball drills. Forget dribbling drills. Forget Mike and layup drills. Forget Kyrie Irving in the gym by himself working on bank shots. These kids now get some money in their pocket. They stop working. So how does a coach battle that? Up front, are you here to play and develop? Because most kids now are asking, how much can you give me? If a kid asks me how much, that's not a kid I'm recruiting, because he's got his mind in the wrong spot. And he's not here for the right reasons. And he's going to go to the highest bidder. So I got to do the best I can, knowing that kids will probably leave. These 5 kids, I'm pretty sure they're going to leave. And I can't be upset about it because I can't get the next kids. If I'm in the press conference talking about, I'm so upset they left. No, you're supposed to say, you know what? You got to do what's best for you. And I can't fault the man to go get money, generational money that can help your family and your family's family. So get in front of it and understand it, and not be this old guy who can't navigate. Like Nick Saban jumped out the game because now he ain't the only one that can do that. So it was like kind of a punk move that you say, hey, if I can't recruit who I want to recruit, I'm going to retire. Nah, bro, you've been able to recruit everybody you wanted to recruit the last 20 years. Now everybody else is on the same playing field, and now you can't win. So, it's a different time. Uh-oh, my lights went out.
That's a great point. That's why I'm glad to have you on the show. I got a couple of questions to ask you. Since we're talking about that, with the fact that right now we have NFL owners are going to be owning college football teams. What is your take on that?
I mean, it's just rich getting richer. I mean, if you got it, what's booming right now? Football, basketball, baseball. 1 second, Conn Man. Let me turn my lights back on.
Good, man. Yeah, man, I'm glad to have my man AC, man. I'm telling you, folks, you got to tune into the show, man, because it's the bomb. For real. He has a lot of great topics, and, he'll be doing everything, the right way. And I'm glad to have him on the show. But getting back to what I was going to ask you, AC, is that, okay, we talked about the NFL. Now, when you have a system that you're trying to develop, and then I guess what I really want to ask you is, where do you see the NIL going? And where do you see collegiate football, for example, going, like we'll say, within the next 5 years? Do you think they're going to build it in, the NIL? Because it seems to me there's no set standard. It seems like baseball. You can sign a player for whatever you want. There's no cap. There's no. So I want to get your feedback on where do you think the NCAA is going to go with the NIL? Because obviously there's going to be issues and people are going to make complaints about it. So where do you see NCAA football for it doesn't collegiate sports in like 4 or 5 years? Where do you see it going, or where do you think it might go?
I think at some point they're going to have to evaluate what's feasible over that time frame. Like right now, these collectives are just raising funds and building these teams based on who has the most money. At some point, they're going to have to cap it because it's not going to be equitable across the board for all the teams in that conference. And you'll see some schools still have academic standards, and they really won't be able to compete. But the teams that have endless amounts of money you see Michigan bidding for a high school quarterback who hasn't played a down of college football yet. And it's just getting to a point where it's almost out of hand. And you keep hearing the term Wild, Wild West. You keep hearing the fact that it's out of control and the inmates are running the asylum and all those phrases that are racially charged to say these little brown and black kids out here going crazy with this money. We got to reel it back in because for what? How long has the NCAA been around? It's been old nose blowers getting all the money while the kids is getting scholarships to go to school and they're not even being supported to graduate. So now we have somewhat of what we always wanted, thanks to my classmate Ed O'Bannon and Ramon Humor, who went to court and got this whole thing started. And I'm thankful the players do have power. However, there has to be some type of limit, like the transferring, not having any, like there's a reason why there was a penalty for transferring, but you had to sit out some of your games because you get what you get now. And these club ball players, high school players, college players just jumping ship because the situation ain't right. When you pick a school because you love the school, love the coach, love the team, except I'm not getting any playing time, you know what that sitting the bench does for you? It allows you to cut your teeth and get mad and get in the gym or get on that field and get them cones out, get you some sprints, get faster, get better, makes you a better person. It makes you a better player. It makes you a better everything because you work for what you get. You don't get, the pay for play, I think is really something that we have to look at because we see the parity now. When Alabama got 3 losses because you got a bunch of kids who ain't even play together and you lose to a team like Vanderbilt who has a team full of seniors because they all been there 5 years. It's going to come to a point where they're going to have a meeting and say, we got to put some type of cap on this thing. I think Deion Sanders had a good point. He thinks it should be performance-based. That way kids won't just be, jumping ship trying to get the next paycheck, but everybody's money is based on what they do on the field. And you have to have some type of transfer limit, maybe 2, something like that, because seeing kids play in 6 and 7 and 8 years, like the kid up in Utah, Cam Rising, going for his 9th year of college football. And I'm just kind of like, at some point, it's time for you to go be an adult and get you a job and get to being a husband and run this, run your new career. But I just know it can't stay the way it is. It's going to get so bad that the kids will no longer have the quality of play. And then they won't be getting the life lessons that they need to learn from these sports because everybody ain't going pro. It's still 3% or less chance that you're going to play pro in the American leagues or overseas. So it's still something like us dads who are putting our kids, our sons in these sports. I want you to learn the life lessons first and foremost.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to be gravy. You go pro, that's gravy.
And something too, AC, is the fact that now we got the NFL, NBA. Now it's trickling down to the NCAA. Now, me being a basketball official for over 40 years, I'm dealing a lot with the AAU. I want to know, because I know you know about the AAU. I want to know what your take is on the AAU as far as it being filtered down. And it won't be called the NIL. It's going to be called something with the AAU programs. What's your take on that?
I think the AAU is what started most of this. Because again, I talk about Ed O'Bannon. It was Slam and Jam back in the day out here in the West Coast, Slam and Jam. And you would see these loaded all-star teams. And you see them with the sweet sneakers on. So when the coach is tabbed by Nike or Adidas or whatever shoe it is, that's the beginning. When you start getting free shoes. And then next thing you know, you're getting free clothes. And the next thing you know, you're getting an envelope. And this is starting with the little kids, 10U, 12U, 13U, because I went through that with my son playing basketball because he didn't play football. He didn't start playing football until he was 16. But from age like 5 to 15, he was playing basketball, trying to make it in the AAU. And it was like watching these different teams and kids grabbing a jersey, playing for this team, grabbing a jersey, going to play for this other team as soon as his game was over. He was a hired gun. And, the payment might have been sneakers, but it was just it was symbolic of what's happening. So AAU, the talent level has grown to a point where the skill of these kids is out of this world at a young age. However, the ability to win basketball games, will be a winning player or to be a role player, is lost. So I'm raising my kid to be the supreme role player, the Draymond Green type guy, that big, tough, strong, rebounding guy. Everybody needs that guy. But in AAU, you don't get no love because you're not scoring 25 points or getting, 15 assists and a triple double. But, if your son can jack up threes and, he's in 13U gold, we'll move him up to 14, 15U gold, and he'll be a phenom. And then, we'll give him some Instagram love, and then he'll be the next guy. It seems like a show. It's not like that's why the Euro kids come to the NBA and dominate, because they've been taught and trained and, molded to be a professional basketball player, not a one-on-one step back, double step back, Euro step, gather step, trying to, cheat the game, draw a foul type of player. But a player that really wants to win basketball games is learning from a knowledgeable coach, is learning from video of guys he watched that has the same body style. Like all these big men shooting threes and all this other stuff. I came from a generation watching Kareem and Hakeem Olajuwon, where the big man was supreme. Kareem is my GOAT, and I've seen him do things that could be effective to this day without shooting any threes and just being a winning basketball player. It's just crazy how the AAU circuit, celebrates stars and pretty much ignores the team, the team, the cohesion, the roles, and the defense. Like, I was a defensive player when I played basketball. I wasn't an offensive player at all. I could dunk the ball and all that stuff, but I was never allowed to shoot the ball very much after JV. But I was a defensive guy. And I think defense, where I'm from, you didn't play with the ball till like the third week of practice. You were playing defense. You were playing off the ball, jump to the pass defense. And it made me a better player in basketball and football, because I learned, reaction, I learned anticipation, I learned to how to stop people from doing what they want to do. So to this day, one-on-one, I'm pretty good because I can stop you from doing what you want to do. So when you watch people like Bernard King and Kobe Bryant who want to get to their certain spots, I'm not letting you get to your spot. I know what spot you're going to because you ain't been to this spot yet, and you're going to this spot, so I'm going to make you go somewhere else. That's defense in any sport, is making somebody do what they don't want to do. And that's kind of where I'm like, well, there are things you can learn from AAU basketball, but you may not be praised for it, because AAU basketball now is about money. It's about sneakers. It's about travel ball and all this other stuff, sponsorships. So it's taken away from the game. So money, the root of all evil, man. It's the root of it.
AC, to the fact, I'm glad you brought up Draymond Green, because and I know, but a lot of the viewers probably don't know or don't realize that Draymond, if you look at him, he don't jump high, he don't shoot good. Look, visually, he don't look that good. But you and I know how valuable he is because he knows the fundamentals and he's very intelligent. And a lot of times, athletes, when they lose their athleticism, there goes their game. But if you keep that mentality and you always uphold the fundamentals, you can definitely go a long way, especially if you are, as you say, a team player. Because if you have an ego, or you have all that athleticism, but y'all have to get along with your teammates or the coach. But you have someone out there who plays every day the way it's supposed to be played, and they go out there and bust their, what? I think that is invaluable lesson to the youth, because me as a referee, I see the kids come in, and the first thing they're doing is shooting 3-pointers. I'm like, gosh, you can't even shoot a 2-pointer yet, and you out here shooting 3-pointers. I don't get it. I don't get that. I'm old school. I know I'm always dirt, but I just don't relate to what I'm seeing now. And you, quite younger than I am, you've been around, you see what's going on now. I don't even go to AAU games anymore. I still referee my summer league, but I don't really go to AAU games per se. I've been asked to coach and referee. I don't want to do that anymore. It's just, to me, it's just completely a turnoff. You know,
Yeah,
now that I got you here, though, we discussed that. Now we're going to talk a little bit of NFL, and then we're going to go hard on the NBA because that's my baby. You know what I'm saying? So, what is your take? First of all, what are your biggest surprises and maybe disappointments in the NFL season thus far?
Well, as an Eagles fan, I'm good. I don't really, I'm surprised that the Pittsburgh Steelers are as good as they are because we have written off Russell Wilson, but now we got our biggest game of the season this Sunday. So I can't wait to see the Eagles play the Steelers this Sunday at 1:30 Pacific Coast time, and I'm going to be ready for that one. But as far as the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, I kind of suspect that they will be in the mix. I thought the Ravens would be a lot better. The Lions, we saw this coming. We saw them getting better, and buying into their coach's WWE mantra, biting kneecaps and doing all the scrapping and calling. And he got some guys in there that embody that. So I think the top 5 or 6 teams are who they're supposed to be. Some teams have fallen off, and you're going to try to go to the draft and better their team. Seeing what the Giants did, giving us Saquon for a bag of chips, I'm loving it. My fantasy football team, I got 2 left out of 4. So I'm always going to be NFL guy. I don't even watch a lot of basketball until the NFL season's over. I try to keep an eye on UCLA and UConn. Those are my 2 college teams. But as far as football is concerned, I'm an Eagles fan. I like the Ravens. I like the Steelers. I like to watch, certain teams play. I like to watch the Lions play now. They play a tough brand of ball. The Packers are surprisingly really good this year. So it's the NFL. It's going to always have some parity. The Cowboys doing bad. I kind of suspected that because Jerry Jones is just doing too much. Him not paying anybody, not bringing anybody in. My buddy, Big Time on the Big Time show, he's a Cowboy fan. He talked about the Cowboys.
He sure is.
Every time, like, y'all putting all your money in Dak, man, and Dak is, I think Dak is limited. I think Dak is Tony Romo in disguise, man. So I just know they got some bigger problems.
He got the bag. Now, AC, if you were, as the owner, y'all know about him. What can you do to solve the Cowboy situation? Because they're stacked. They still got to pay Micah. They still got to, they already paid at back. They already paid Lamb. How are you going to get out of this situation?
I think Jerry needs to stop being the GM. I think he needs to get a younger mind in there because I look at my Eagles and Howie Roseman is able to get talent and the same salary cap that everybody else has. So why is Jerry acting like he's not playing the same game as everybody else as far as how much you need to pay certain people every 3 years? So you have to play if you're going to be competitive. You just can't pay the top 3. You got to get dudes across the board, linemen first. You got to get the big boys that are going to push that line so you can play football. It's not passing league. It's not, you can pay Micah Parsons. That's only one guy. And he's inconsistent. And then you got CeeDee Lamb who's becoming a diva. And then you have Dak Prescott who's hurt every other year. So, you don't have a good microcosm of stars. They're known that sell jerseys, but we see what we see, and it's just not consistent. And then it goes back to Jerry Jones not wanting to pay people until he has to. That's not an owner that sees vision beyond the next 2 years. You got to look at 5-year plan. You got 3 years to win the Super Bowl with this group. If it's not working out, you got to make some changes or some additions. And in that 3-year cycle, you don't win a Super Bowl with that quarterback. Is that your quarterback? Like, I still believe Jalen Hurts is our quarterback. We got to the Super Bowl in year 2, and you pay him. So now we got 3 years to work with this kid. If he can get us there and win one, then it was worth the investment. And if you don't get it in the 3rd year, it's time to pay people. You're either going to break them up or you're going to have to come out the pocket a little bit more and ask some guys to take some pay cuts. It's just a process that some owners and GMs have already accepted. I don't think Jerry Jones has accepted it. He thinks he can still run it like a slave master and I pay you when I get ready to pay you. And other
Right.
players know that. And that's where you only can play at a high level with rookies, where you don't have to pay them. The standard rate is the standard rate. Now, the third year, you got to pay them. If you don't win the championship in the third year with that group, you got to find a new, not blow it up, but you got to find another avenue to get your roster better. The Cowboys did nothing in the offseason. They brought in Ezekiel Elliott. They retreaded Ezekiel Elliott and put him out there. And I said, "This what y'all got? Oh, Eagles gonna win the NFC East."
I think Ezekiel's older than me. I think he is. He might be. But Jerry Jones was doing that with who was it? Was it Elliott? Was he doing with Elliott? Sat out the first 2 games or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he woke up and then signed him, and then I think they won it that year, if I'm correct.
He didn't want to pay him. Yeah.
But you know what? Now we got your Philadelphia Eagles. I have to ask this. I have to. And we got my producer Key Williams tuning in, and we got Kuma Kane tuning in. You know they're Eagles fans. You know what I mean? So what do you think about this? Is it or is it not a rift? You know I'm going to ask this. Between Hurts and A.J. Brown. Is it being blown out of proportion? Is there some substance to this? Is it going to affect? Hey, they won 9 in a row. I mean, how much problems can it be? So I want your take on you being an Eagles fan.
Man, if we would have lost 9 in a row, then it'd be a problem. But since you win 9 in a row, doing what Eagles fans used to want, run the football. Because if you throw the ball so many times, of course there are going to be some interceptions. Of course there are going to be some fumbles on sacks. So you ask Jalen Hurts to protect the football. He's protecting the football. Who's going to be mad? A.J. Brown and Smitty, Devontae Smith.
Right.
And that's just a receiver's mentality. I was a receiver my whole life until college. I want the ball. No receiver has ever said, "No, don't throw me the ball." Except that one receiver from the Baltimore Ravens said, "I'm not going in the game."
Right.
But as far as the Eagles concerned, what A.J. Brown said was out of context, I believe. It was just, we got to get better passing the ball. Because right now we're not throwing the ball because we're not good at it. It's just not part of what we do. Saquon's going to get his yards, but how does Kellen Moore, the OC, call plays to make it balanced? The best teams are balanced. They can do both. And if it's not running the ball, it's getting the ball out the backfield to Saquon in the flat, which opens up A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, just tight end. So not getting the ball is frustrating, but there'll be days when you get the ball. I promise you, A.J. gets 10 targets this game. Because the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
I bet he does.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. Devontae probably going to get 5 or 6 targets. A.J. going to get 10 targets. Goddard going to get maybe 3 or 4 targets. It's just that it's not that many passes to be had when the game is running clock. Like when you run the football, the clock runs and the game is shortened. That's how you win long term. If you throwing the ball 75 times a game, them games are long and guys get hurt. So if you play short, compact, controlled football, you can sustain winning ways for a long time because the games are shorter. I think coaches that think about those things are successful. Those who want to have, this, Hollywood 5 wides, no running back, empty set every single down. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, they do that for a smoke screen. It's going to be a very short pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's designed that way so they can keep the guys on the field and keep their defense off the field. Andy Reid's a mastermind, man. He's making pass plays look like run plays and run plays look like pass plays. And then Patrick Mahomes is a magician back there. And that's why they're able to win all the games the way they win. We want to have the ball last. That's how they win games. They want to have the football last. And we want to be able to run that clock out and the game will be over. And we win 21-19 for the last 5 weeks in a row. And it's kind of like, well, shoot, the Eagles have figured that part out. We lost to the Chiefs that one Super Bowl a few years back. And you think about how that happened. Jalen Hurts threw for like 500 yards and we lost. Mm-hmm. If he had thrown for 200 yards, we probably would have won because we would have been controlling the football by running it and making sure that we are on the field on defense less. So it's just a mentality. I think we're in a good spot. we were ready to fire Sirianni after that second loss.
I was just going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up. Go ahead.
I think he's learning. I don't mind him being aggressive. I just want him to be smart. Now, when he was calling them fourth and threes and 4th and 5s, going for it, I think something was wrong with Elliott, our kicker. I think he was not healthy because he missed so many kicks in that little span. So something's not right. So he was just trying to protect him. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because now we're 9 in a row, and we're looking at playing the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, and we haven't lost to them since what? I think we haven't lost to Pittsburgh at home in a long time. I mean, I forgot what the graphic said, but it's a good chance that since 1965 we haven't lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. So, I think that's going to be the thing that Pittsburgh puts on their bulletin board, and they're going to come in there with some incentive to, change that. But I think our ball control style is hard to beat.
What is your biggest fear as for the opposition?
For this week, or just
for the next 4 games.
Oh man, it's injury. I don't really fear any of the teams that we play except for our own injury health. Just being healthy. I mean, we can lose a couple games and still be, in the hunt. We've already clinched the playoff spot, so now we're trying to play for home field. As long as we stay healthy, and I mean, we can afford to drop a stinker here and there. We beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's over with. We gonna backpedal into the playoffs, and you don't want to get anybody hurt. So I expect at that point we start resting guys. I'm not a proponent of completely sitting guys out, but I am a proponent for not putting them in harm's way, not having Jalen Hurts run the ball too much, not having Saquon do all the damage, maybe give him 20 carries at the most, and just play solid football and get up out of there and get ready for the playoffs.
Do you think Saquon's going to break the record?
How many yards away? That would be my question. And how much will we use him?
I don't know how much. I'm sure Key and Kuma Kane tune in. They would know, but I don't know offhand off the top of my head. But they'll probably tune in anyway. And
they say he's close, but I don't think Saquon's that kind of guy because he was already this year, letting the young guys get in there when the game's out of hand. So I don't think he's necessarily – he knows about the record, but I don't think he's gunning for it. I don't think he's going to put himself in danger to get it. I think he's going to get it naturally if he gets it. And it'll be a wonderful thing, especially when they write you off. The New York Giants thought he wasn't worth it. And I was like, if he get the Philadelphia Eagles line, he's going to be scary. And he puts in his best work in the second half. So I know that, that line makes a difference and the culture makes a difference.
The thing I like about Saquon is he's very unselfish. You remember? I don't know if you remember that thing about when his coach asked him if he wanted to break the record for, I guess, the game. And he said, no, let them guys eat. If that don't tell you something right there, that is a true testament to the type of person he is. And I think that's a great tribute to him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that says a lot to me. Because you got, like you said, you was a wide receiver. There's a lot of divas that want the ball more so than, I won't say some, more than winning, because that affects their paper or their bag, per se.
Oh, yeah.
And their mind, anyway. But at the end of the day, winning gets you that bag as well. You know what I mean? And we only got about 10 minutes, which I do enjoy you coming on my show. Now we got to talk my area. You already know. So we're going to talk about some. I know you don't watch the NBA too much, but what is your take from what you've seen thus far in the NBA? Because I got my own feelings. I want to hear yours first.
Well, for me, man, I'm a Sixers fan, being brought up on Dr. J. My dad being a Philadelphia playground legend, so Philadelphia has always been my team. And we struggling right now because of injuries. We got 2 of the worst knees in the league in Embiid and Paul George. So when I get into basketball mode, I already went to see them play in person versus the Clippers here in LA. And I think our team is deep with talent, but a lot of the kids are the same talent. They're 3-and-D guys, kind of long, play pretty good defense, but without Embiid, we're not an elite team. Without a healthy Embiid, we're AAU team with a bunch of guards, and I just know that it's going to be rough getting out of the hole we're in. I think we were like 3 or 4 and 15 the last time I checked, dead last. And then me being in LA, of course, the Lakers are always on time on people's tongues on what they're going to say about basketball, and with LeBron taking some time away from the team, and them having a brand new coach with no coaching experience. It started out real sweet. Now it's not sweet. Now everybody's like, what's going on? Why the team so bad? It's just the reality that these younger teams have caught up. So the OKCs of the world and Boston has finally, found their identity, and their coach has proven that he can coach. It's just a time where it's very top heavy. The Boston Celtics and, teams like that, and New York getting a whole overhaul with Cat coming in, and then the Timberwolves getting rid of Cat and then bringing in, the guys from the Knicks, and they getting rid of DiVincenzo, because I'm a Villanova guy too. You see, I got my UConn on, and my UConn Villanova.
Okay.
Being born in Connecticut, but being a Philly guy growing up, those are my two teams. But just watching the NBA guys from Villanova and UConn, it's always good. I like to watch the players more so than the team, so to speak, because you follow players. And, sometimes you'll have a home team that you love, but most of the time we follow players. So you figure, like, for a while, my favorite player was Kawhi Leonard, but he can't get healthy. So my next best favorite player is Damian Lillard. And then he's on the Bucks, so I hardly ever get a chance to see him play. But now they're putting the Bucks on TV again, so I'm going to start watching that. I don't even know how they play. I'm not sure if he's still Dame time. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to check it out. I'm a big Kyrie fan too. So I'm just watching the players, and when I get back in the mix of it, I got a little hookup. I got some tickets all the time if I need them at the new Intuit Dome the Clippers play in. So I just want it to be some good games, and guys play hard, even if it's a play-in tournament. I want them to play as hard as they are playing for that mid-season tournament in the regular season game, so we can always see the best talent play against the best talent. So, I enjoy it. But I have no real dog in the fight now that the Sixers are pretty bad.
My take, AC, is the fact that I called it before the season began. I just felt that I had a strong feeling that injuries were going to be way more current than in previous years, and it's come to fruition. Now, my question to you again is, you got people like, I'm not putting anybody down per se, but you got Paul George, all these guys making these absorbent amount of money, and they're not, the return on investment is not coming through. So what do you do in that situation? The reason we brought up OKC, if you look at their payroll, it's manageable, and it hasn't reached that level where you got 3 guys making 55 or more million a year. You know what I mean? So they can maintain, they can do what they do because they have most of them are under the salary cap, the salary structure right now, the rookie contract, the rookie deals or whatever. So they can manipulate and do a lot of things where you got some teams are stuck. They really can't do much. I'll give you an example. You mentioned his name a little earlier, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, he's in a situation now, he's making $49 million a year. And he's trying to get out of Miami. Well, he says he's not, but he's trying to get out of Miami. And he chooses the teams he wants to go to. My take on the NBA is, I love the game. I love the players. I love the sport. I just find it with the talent management, the load management, whatever management you want to call it, I think it's taken away from the game. I think, again, with all these absorbent amount of contract figures, to me, it drives me nuts. It really does. But then again, if they're making that money, what are the owners making? You know what I mean? So there's a reason. And, I think the NBA is going to get a little bit better. I'm looking forward to, as you said, once the Super Bowl's over, we can concentrate on the NBA and the NCAA and all that, madness and all that. While I get you on, AC, is there anything I didn't ask you? Is there anything that you might have wanted to relay to the viewers that maybe I didn't ask? Maybe Mike should have asked me this, or maybe he should have. Is there anything that you want, besides we're going to talk about your show and how they can watch your show, is there anything else you want to convey to our audience?
I mean, I don't have like no topic that I want you to ask me about, but I'm always interested to hear about because you're in New York, right? Where are you right now?
I'm in Boston.
You're in Boston, or even better, East Coast mentality. Is it a real thing? Like as far as basketball is concerned, the toughness of the game, how the game is played. Whereas on the West Coast, we get the finesse stigma or stereotype that the guys on the West Coast play with finesse and speed.
Yes.
Whereas on the East Coast, you play a little tougher and grittier and more, more body and more physical nature. Is that still a thing in your opinion when you watch the game at the lower levels, high school, college, and pro? The kids who get their teeth cut on the East Coast versus the kids that play on the West Coast. What have you noticed over the years?
That's a very good question, man. That's a great question. Well, I think I have a good answer for you. I'm hearing in the East, I don't know if there's more than in the West Coast, but I presume there is. We have a lot of leagues out here where the men are playing against the younger kids. So, there's more physical play. You come in the paint, you're getting hit. It's more aggressive. And we have out here in Massachusetts, in New Bedford, Mass, we have a big-time basketball shootout where it's a pro-am. We have some pros playing. And so the younger kids get to see how tough it is. And it's like that New York, Chicago mentality. So to answer your question, yeah, there's definitely that physical play out here. And, I know about in the West Coast, you have a lot of great players out there, Gary Payton, and we have to go into all detail on that. But what I'm saying is, you get your credibility on the street. You know what I mean? That's where you gain your credibility on the street. That's all good. But if you want to gain your cred, it's in the park, it's on the street. And what do they play? They play physical. You know what I mean? And that's a mentality that's developed here on the East Coast. So to answer your question, when I was growing up, I was hearing about the West Coast being kind of more finesse, the Paul Pierces, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But out here, man, it's rugged. It's rough.
I asked that because I played ball with a guy from New York a couple of months back, and I figured he broadcast that he was from New York. And like I said, growing up, I went to Philadelphia every summer, and I would go to the court. Ain't no foul calls unless you full on got punched or knocked down. So you getting fouled every shot, but you don't call it. You play through it, and it made you tougher. And I play this guy at LA Fitness out here in California, and I'm no layup is my motto is no layups. You're gonna have to do something with this rock to get me off my spot, so you can get around me and get. Now, if you get to that foot, that's your layup. But if you're not gonna put the work in to get to that gather 1, 2, it's gonna be some hand checking. Like we're not in the NBA. This is pickup ball, and me and you are the best athletes on the court because you got weekend warrior dudes trying to play. You got some kids over here trying to play. So I say, me and you, we can have our understanding. Me and you are the best athletes in here. You play me tough, I'm gonna play you tough. Now you're a better basketball player than me because you played at a high level. I played at a high school and went on to play football and did track. But I can play basketball with good players because I know how to play without fouling. Yes. But hand checking is part of good defense, even in the playoffs. When the playoffs get tough or when the guys start turning it up, it's contact. It's not going to be it's going to be some contact. My chest or my lower elbow in your kidney. I can hold my spot. You try to drop, my elbow going to be in your kidney. And I was just like, bro, you from New York. This is supposed to be normal for you. I'm not fouling you.
And so you know what? Out here, right now, we didn't always have it. Because I've been affiliated with this association for 40 years. We've been doing a basketball shootout out here for 40 years. And it was more out of respect and credibility. But within the last 5 years, it's a $10,000 money tournament. So you want to talk about bringing it up a notch. You know what I mean? And then out in our area, we when we have a big Cape Verdean parade festival, so there's over 100,000 people watching the parade. They all come down to the park, and You're probably not familiar with the cities around here, but we have rivalries big time. And during in the afternoon, they'll be like sipping on a little beer, whatever. But then come nighttime, they hit the hard liquor, and then it gets ugly. If you know what I'm trying to say, you got to watch out for the referees because it's a money tournament. A lot of people don't make that kind of money, so that brings up the intensity of the physical play. But that's out here, how we do it up here. But our time is running out. I want you to let folks know how they can watch you and check you out because you got one of the best shows. You know me, I'm always hitting you up every time you're on, every time I get an opportunity. Let the folks know about you, man.
Oh, man, you can watch AC Sports Live every Tuesday night on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, the X, and LinkedIn. And I'm trying to up my shorts game, posting shorts, little clips from my show all the time. You'll see me on TikTok and Instagram on there. I don't go live on Instagram as much as I used to. It just doesn't work out with the widescreen, but it's still something I post some of my shorts. But again, clean sports talk. I keep it PG because my mama watched the show, man. I keep it clean and classy because I got my church members watching the show. And I just love sports. I love talking about sports because it's analogies, it's symbols, it's just the occurrences of life that happen within a game, and it's easy to teach from those instances. It's easy to teach from those interactions and those stories that come out of sports. It's just live drama, and I just really have a good time doing it. My show is interactive. If you comment, I try to get to your comment and comment on what you said, and then you're part of the show. So my whole thing was engagement. I want to be able to interact with my fans, my family, my friends, people I ain't seen in 25 years that pop on the show, say, hey, man, you spoke to me when you was in 10th grade and I was a nobody, man. You made me feel good. And stuff like that make me happy that I'm able to connect with people that I haven't spoken to in many, many years. And sometimes I meet people I haven't met before, like yourself. I meet good people who have good hearts and good purpose, and they got good drive and vision. That's what I want to surround myself with. I got a lot of jive turkeys in my life that I kind of cut out, but they know where I am. They know what I stand for, and they can watch my show and tune in and see if they can't, use some of that positivity that I'm trying to bring with a sports take that might be a little bit different than the common take, but it's usually going to be one of encouragement. It's going to be one of laughter. It's going to be one of authenticity. So that's all you can really be, man, is your best self. And that's what I try to do on my show, AC Sports Live, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific Coast time on all your social media platforms.
And folks, I can truly attest to that. I mean, everything he says, he stands by 100%. And it's a very entertaining show. You guys got to tune in. My man is one of a kind. And AC, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm going to have to come on again, after, football season. I might ask you to come on again.
Now you got to come on my show one time, and we got to talk some basketball. When basketball,
I would love to, my man.
All right.
And AC, man, you're an inspiration. And what I like to do on my show is have people make an impact, and you have definitely done that. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on my show. I just want to thank you so much, my brother. You are one of a kind. Folks, I want to thank my man, Anthony Cobbs, my man, owner at his own AC Media Production Company, and he has one of his great sports podcasts on as well. I want you guys to tune in. And I also want to thank all you folks for tuning in to my show, Sports Corner with the Conn Man on the Sports Wave Network. And we have another couple of shows on tomorrow evening as well. And again, I'm thankful for the opportunity to have you guys check us out. And I will see you guys tomorrow evening live at 5 o'clock. And again, I want to thanks to my man, AC Cobbs, and for coming on my show. He is one of a kind, and I want to thank him. And I want to thank my producer, T. Williams. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do this show at all. So, folks, you all take care of yourself. God bless. Peace out. Thank you.